Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream. Today is November the 4th. I'm going to do your spiritual principle a day in a meditation. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our Hood Recovery Services. You can reach me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Okay, whew, this looks long. Let's get into it, though. All right, what is it called? Intimacy is complicated but worth it. For those of us who use sex as a way to move forward or move through the world, it may take some time to figure out the difference between being sexual and being intimate. Oh my goodness. That comes from Living Clean, chapter 4, entitled Sex. Wait, so sex and intimacy are not the same thing? This is news to many of us. What isn't news is the complex and often contradictory relationship at play when it comes to our sexual behavior, our addiction, and our capacity for intimacy. Oh, they coming out with all guns blazing. They coming out with all guns blazing today. Let me just reread that if you missed it. Wait, so sex and intimacy are not the same thing? This is news to many of us. What isn't news, check this out, is the complex and often contradictory relationship at play when it comes to our sexual behavior, our addiction, and our capacity for intimacy. Oh, this is going to be deep. For many of us, sex has been a useful tool, a bargaining chip. We've used it as a shield to deflect intimacy rather than experience it. Sex can be so intricately entwined with our use of substances that we may need to learn how to have sex without using. Will we be able to perform? Will we even enjoy it? How can we fulfill our sexual desires without taking advantage of others or putting others at risk for the same? Oh, y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready for this one today. I'm barely ready myself. Going on. Learning how to have sex clean is one thing. Being intimate with others in a non-sexual context is another. True intimacy requires mutual honesty and willingness from all involved parties, quite literally, bearing our souls instead of bearing our bodies. How on earth do we approach this? It's overwhelming. And who says we even want intimacy anyway? Is that a requirement for staying clean? We approach this jumbled human mess with patience for ourselves, no matter how long we have clean. We approach it with some resolve to understand and communicate our desires and our truths. And if possible, we approach it with the understanding that our relationship to sex and intimacy will continue to evolve as we mature in our recovery and grow older. Intimacy is complicated, and I can't possibly figure it out today. Instead, I will focus on getting to know myself and being considerate of others. I'll aim to practice spiritual principles in my sexual affairs too. Y'all want a moment of silence now, don't you? Y'all definitely got the patience for a moment of silence today. Okay, let's go ahead. I'll give it to you. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the wee version of serenity prayer, and then let's unpack this. Moment of silence now. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. The wisdom to know the difference, the courage to change the things that we can. Yeah. Our sexual behavior is something that we can change. The intimacy part of this discussion is something that we can change. However, it takes patience. It's not going to change overnight. And that's where the wisdom come in. Because intimacy requires that it begins within. If it's nothing more than an openness to being intimate with someone else, if it's nothing more than just the willingness. And now, when I say nothing more, I'm saying true intimacy, in my definition, starts from within, and it is the ability to know thyself and to thy own self to be true and to understand who you are, to be okay with being by yourself if it has to be that way, but to be okay with prayer and meditation, to be okay with sitting still, doing artwork, exercising, reading, if that's what you love to do, the willingness to, or the ability to just love up on yourself, taking care of your personal, mental, physical, and spiritual health, right? Being able to take that time to do what you need to do to be well in all areas of your life. But right now, I'm just talking about the intimacy where you into yourself see. Okay. Now, from there, as I lift my head and look outward, I am able to see the value, the love in other people. We were just talking about being able to receive and give love in the just for today. So this is perfect. They're playing off of each other. That's great. But now, after seeing into myself and being willing to be intimate with myself, I am able to look outwardly and see how much love is being generated and sent my way. And I am able to pick and choose those individuals, for the most part, that I want to take a chance on. And then I take that chance with them, and I find that they are willing to be in this environment of intimacy with me. And I find that they make great friends, they make great sponsees, they make great buddies hanging out with. Sometimes it goes further and does become sexual, but we're not talking about sexual relationships here. We're talking about the ability to have intimacy and not push the sex issue, not land in bed just because we went on a date with someone, to get to know someone, to be able to walk in a park and hold someone's hand and not expect anything, or not hold their hand and not expect anything else, to be able to say, I'm concerned about you and I love you. Is everything okay with you? And them not think, what's wrong with her or what's wrong with him, right? The ability to keep our hands in our pants and give the newcomer a chance, which, right now I'm talking about another individual that needs to see that love can be expressed without sex having to be involved. That's what this is talking about. And for some of us, we claim platonic relationships. We claim that we're just friends with certain people. And it's kind of like accessory after the fact, right? It's like now you are, but you've already have been sexually intimate with them and you've moved on, right? And you expect for them to accept that you didn't love them or want them that way. And for them, the only way that they know that they can interact with you is to be your friend, is to accept the terms that you're giving. And so they may not actually really be your friend at all. They may just be accepting the terms that you're done with them, and they still are somewhat obsessing about you and wanting to be with you sexually. This happened with men and women. This happens with men and women. We move on. When we're done with people sexually, if they don't fulfill our needs or we're bored with them, we just move on to the next person. Or maybe we don't move on. Maybe we just add another sexual partner. Maybe we're in a monogamous relationship, uh, um, a pseudo monogamous relationship, giving the appearance of being faithful and loyal to just one individual instead of just saying, let's have an open relationship where we can have sex with whoever we want, right? Maybe we give that appearance of being in a monogamous relationship, but our hearts and our minds and sometimes our bodies are with other people. If it's not through pornography, it's through online dating, a secret site that we're on that no one knows we're on. We're using a fake name. Maybe you have a partner that's not in recovery, so they never come to the events. So you have a husband at home, but then you have a husband in recovery, so to speak, or you have other partners in recovery that you're having sex with. Let's grow up, right? Can we grow up? I'm talking to myself, right? Can I not sexualize relationships and be friends with people? I have several beautiful friends. I only have one guy, that's my husband, that I am intimate on a sexual level with, right? I have one person by choice, because you can make a choice to have other partners, but it's only fair that whoever you're with knows the risk that is involved if you're going to have other partners. Like, let's, use protection. Let's keep it honest. But a lot of people don't have that ability. They don't have that ability to be honest. And so I just want to encourage you today to think about if you are able to have intimate relationships with people that don't include having to have sex with them, because our past as using our sexual behavior was always intricate, entwined rather with sexual, our drugs, our sex, our behaviors towards other. It was like sex and drugs always went together is the point that I'm trying to make, right? And so now when we get clean, we still have to deal with this sexual behavior. And a lot of times what we find out is that the drugs set the foundation for the sexual behavior. The drugs open the door. Some people find that unless they had taken uppers, they couldn't really perform very long. Or if they didn't take something that reduced their stress, downers, they weren't relaxed. They were too frigid to enjoy it. So the point is that have you seen a difference in your sexual behavior from when you were using to not using? And have you seen now that there's room for intimacy to come into play, where now you understand a person and they understand you? And there's this mutual level of respect and honor and desire for one another sexually. And a lot of times we don't experience that because we're afraid to allow ourselves to do something different. And we continue to do the same thing over and over, expecting different results. Sexual behaviors for many of us are some of the last things that we are willing to change because it's easier to do what you've always done. However, if we're really going to be experiencing the spiritual principle of the 12th step, where we're able to apply this in all of our affairs, we have to get to the point where we can be honest about how sex played a part in our drug use, how it's different today, what is different, if anything is different, and if it's not different, why isn't it different? Are we still throwing up blocks of distrust and dishonesty so that we never get to the point where we're intimate enough with a person to want to be sexual with them because of who they are and not just because of what we want, but because of who we are and who they are, and we want that. We're intimate with each other. It's a much deeper level that this is asking of us, and only you can answer your own questions about that. No one else can do it. My name is MightyStream. I've enjoyed talking to you today. They came out with all guns blazing today, but it's wonderful to be in a position to actually have these sort of discussions. So I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to have the most beautiful day that you can possibly have, to begin to embrace intimacy with other individuals as you have never done before. And if you haven't been able to do it, to figure out what you need to be able to be in that position. Have a beautiful day. Make it the best day that you're going to have, because it is the only day like today that you will ever have. And soon tomorrow will be here, and today will just be a memory. So make it the best day possible. Talk to you soon.